Hello, everyone. My name is Paul. I'm the founder of Woke News Report, wokenewsreport.com, and also the creator of Woke Board Game, which you can find more information about at wokeboardgame.com. It's a fun game. I hope you do check that out. Tonight, we're going to be talking about boycotts. Target is in the news because of their LGBTQIA plus whatever targeting towards children. Once again, we have another company that wants to ultimately eliminate 20 years from now their customer base. Because if you buy into this, you know what's going to happen if you watch this show. As always, I want to define what woke is. Woke is a top-down system people in power use in order to depopulate. One of the best ways in the entire world to depopulate is to convince little children, small children, that they are either a boy or a girl in the opposite sex. So you chop up a little boy to turn him into a little girl. You chop up a little girl, turn him into a boy, and eventually the population will decline. But there are companies out there that really support this. Now, I am a former chief marketing officer. I ran a restaurant group for a little while, multi-million-dollar restaurant group. Before that, I was a director of marketing. I've been a director of communications on a political campaign for Congress. I have owned my own public relations firm with customers. I have also been the chief creative officer of another marketing firm with 150 plus customers and clients. So my background is marketing. I also was on television a lot, and I had the number one show on the radio, 100,000 watts, Tampa to Miami, Arbitron rating. Arbitron is like the Nielsen's, they kind of rate what's going on. I had the number one show from Tampa to Miami during my time slot in my demographic. So it's not as if I'm coming to this from a viewpoint of not necessarily knowing. I think there is a big difference in a Ben and Jerry's and a Bud Light. At Ben and Jerry's, you pretty much know if you're buying Ben and Jerry's, the greatest ice cream, by the way. It's fantastic. If you buy Ben and Jerry's, you know they're a bunch of liberal leftists that believe in climate change, and I don't even know what they believe in. They believe in a lot of stuff, and they kind of preach what they believe in. The two founders of that are very, very leftist. So you know what you're buying when you buy it. Is that going to stop you? Maybe not. If you've ever had their ice cream, you might think it's kind of worth it to buy their ice cream. Bud Light, on the other hand, is in a situation where the frontline workers, the people in the field, got broadsided by what? I say they got broadsided by the HR department. The most evil people in corporate America invariably is the HR department, human resources. These are people that went to college in order to learn how to hire, fire, and send out paperwork. They also learned how to indoctrinate other people in the company. And as a result of their college education, and nothing against college educations, by the way, As a result of their college education, now they're the teachers. Let's follow along here. This is complicated in a sense, but for smart people watching this, it's not too complicated. They are the teachers. HR people are the teachers for the rest of the class, meaning the business. So I have said this in writings for years now. You're a parent, you've got a child, you're going to send them to school. As soon as you do send them to school, you have given up your parental rights. And you can even find news articles now that talk about how this is what actually happens. But when I was writing the articles back in the day, what I meant is you have been summoned ultimately to a parent-teacher conference. And the teacher is going to school the parent all about their young child. Well, Billy did this. Well, Billy did that. Susie's over here doing this. You have a child looking up to the parent and the parent looking up to the teacher. The child notices this because once the teacher talks to the parent goes down and talks to the child. Billy, Susie, your teacher tells me you are doing X and Y and Z. This is no different than human resources, HR departments, in many, many cases around the country, businesses everywhere, all around the world, actually. The HR department is the most powerful department. People in my field, marketing, communications, public relations, they think it's the communications department. The communications department is literally the department that cleans up messes like Bud Light after the HR department gets it totally wrong and hires a lady like the one that put this other Dylan guy in a commercial. The lady that the vice president of Bud Light, and I can't recall her name right now, didn't hire herself into Bud Light. That lady had nothing to do with it. It was her policy that brought Dylan on. It was the HR department that hired the lady. It's the communication department that's trying to clean all this mess up. Crisis communications is a real deal. I've participated in a lot of crisis communications. When certain things went bad, certain things went wrong, how do you handle this situation? I've done it. So the HR department is really the most important department in all of any business. They will hire a lady like this vice president. The vice president will, quote unquote, go rogue, which in the case of Bud Light, she did go rogue. Can you imagine working the front lines of Bud Light, driving the truck, delivering the beer, manufacturing the beer, making sure the bottles are, compliant and everything else. And all of a sudden, and your life is good. You've got a house and a wife and a kid, and you're doing fantastic. And you think, man, this is the greatest job of all time. And all of a sudden, the HR department hires this one lady, and that one lady literally knocks 25% sales off of the brand. Billions of dollars, to the point where they're talking today about buying back all the outdated Bud Light. Well, where Ben and Jerry stand, right? They're leftist. They're liberal. They're leftist. They believe in a bunch of kooky things. You can buy them. Their ice cream is great. No one denies their ice cream is not fantastic. You can or cannot based on the fact that you already know. The Bud Light thing came about because some kooky woman literally changed the entire trajectory of that brand overnight. And now you have a bunch of people that are, I would say, suffering. Whether you're a distributor, you're on the front line, you're driving the trucks around. It's everywhere in the news. The communications department, which would be my department back in the day, would be trying to clear all this up and clean it up for them. But the damage has been done because the HR department, the most important department in any business, has ruined it. I kind of feel like there's a separation between a Bud Light and a Ben and Jerry's. Ben and Jerry's, you know where they're coming from. You want to buy them? Buy them. Bud Light, well, that pretty much gobsmacked everybody. Nobody had any idea that was coming. It was so left field for the history, tradition, Anheuser-Busch, Budweiser, Bud Light, you know, men's men, rah, 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 America. And all of a sudden we have this. And I kind of feel the same way. I worked at Target when I was in high school as part of this marketing program. And Target was just, you know, we called it Target. It was like the richer Walmart at the time. And this is in the mid 80s, so keep in mind, it's been a while. Well, now it's a different story because the CEO of Target comes out today and he says Target CEO defends LGBTQ friendly kids clothing amid a boycott calls the right thing for society. Can you even imagine? So, to take it back to Ben and Jerry's. Ben and Jerry's, you know where they stand. They've stood on the left for 1,000 years. They have always been on the left, and you knew that. Bud Light comes and gets this one lady who has the Dylan man do some commercial or a commercial or maybe more. I'm not sure. And all of a sudden it's boycott that. And that has literally tanked billions of dollars off the market. The Target CEO comes out and says the right thing for society. Well, you don't really necessarily think Target is that political of a thing. It's always kind of been middle of the road, in the middle of things. You don't hear a lot about it. They're trying to beat their numbers all the time because they are more expensive selling the same products. But they also, when you walk around the Target store, you got a little more space to walk around. They don't have a lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean, go in and look for a hammer or something, and you might find a hammer. But, you know, it's just kind of weird because all of their quote-unquote departments are very small. I mean, you find more stuff sometimes at a Dollar General store. Like, it's crazy. But you got one side doing this, you got the other side that kind of got gobsmacked, and now you've got the Target CEO coming out. Target's top executive dismissed the social media uproar over the retailer's new line of LGBTQ friendly. Is that what the QIA or the IA plus stands for? I mean, nobody knows. I don't know what it stands for. I've been asking for a long time. When I was growing up, it was LGB. All of a sudden, they added a T to it, and I went, what? Now they have a Q. I think Q is L and G. I think that's Q. But LG didn't, so, you know, LG wasn't enough, so they had to add a Q. Now, Q could also incorporate the B because a B could be L plus G. So now you got a Q. Now there's an IA. I have no idea what IA is. And a plus at the end. Is the plus or the IA plus friendly? Does that mean friendly? Answer in the comments. I don't know. Tell me in the comments. Is that what that means? IA plus means friendly. Kids clothing saying that marketing the products are good for business and the right thing for society. Outraged shoppers posted videos and images on social media showing bathing suits that offer extra crotch coverage. Now I saw that on Twitter. Somebody showed it, and I was like, that's kind of crazy. As well as rainbow-colored onesies for infants and children. Other offerings that raise conservative hackles. Conservatives, parents, mothers, the problem, dominant people that shop at Target, include t-shirts that say Pride Adult Drag Queen Katya. I don't know what that means. Trans people will always exist. That actually is the dumbest thing of all time. Trans people will always exist. Not really. I mean, how are you going to be having babies? Let's move on. The CEO says here, I think those are just good business decisions, and it's the right thing for society, and it's a great thing for the brand. The executive, whose company employs more than 450,000 workers and 1,900 locations. Now, talking about Bud Light, all of a sudden you're working on the front line of Bud Light, you're shifting the beer through and you're loading it on the truck, and the driver gets in the truck and he starts heading to the store, you know, all of this stuff. And then they find out that this is going on and they lose billions and billions of dollars. Bud Light starts backtracking. The communications department is in a panic. The lady who did this got fired or disappeared. I don't know if she got fired or not. I still haven't figured that out. She's gone from Bud Light. Everybody's trying to fix this situation. The workers are putting so much pressure on Bud Light that Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, AmBev, whoever, are trying to fix it as fast as they can because the HR department hired this one lady. This one lady hired a man in a bikini or something. I don't even know what was going on with that. In a bathtub. In order to sell Bud Light primarily to men. How much does that even make sense? But you got the CEO putting 450,000 people, workers, in more than 1,900 locations in jeopardy. The CEO, because he says it's the right thing for society. Woke, the top-down system people put in place in order to depopulate. Now, maybe not all 450,000 will lose their job because of this boycott. Maybe, potentially, most of them can keep their job. But if you don't think that that CEO has not caused stress and anxiety to 450,000 workers at Target right now, the whole what just happened? I go to work every day, and today I show up, and this is what's going on. This is what's happening. I'm going to lose my job. I can't afford insurance. I can't afford health care. I can't afford the place to live. Hiring matters. Hiring is the most important thing that matters. And the most important hiring that any company can do is the HR department. If the HR department, the board of the company at Target hired this CEO. The board is the HR department. They hired this CEO. Is this CEO aligned with 450,000 other workers? Trans people will always, there's the shirt there if you can see it. Trans people will always exist. No, they won't. They're just not going to. They're going to depopulate themselves at some point. You chop up enough little boys and turn them into girls. You chop up enough little girls and turn them into boys. No one can have babies. No one's going to be procreating to have more children. I mean, that's in the practical world. Yeah, trans people will always exist. There will always be a clinger from MASH in the world. There's always going to be that. But clinger from MASH, as I've said at Woke News Report Substack, that was kind of a different thing, right? He liked to wear dresses. We've always had men who like to wear dresses. This trans thing, though, is all about depopulation in the sense that you're trying to switch bodies. You're trying to switch your body with someone else's biological body. Will they always exist? Technically. But only because normal people will continue to have children as such that they can. The things we've done from DEI, and in parentheses here, a diversity, equity, and inclusion standpoint, it's adding value. The CEO of this company says Target. Diversity, I've never understood this. I was raised in a house with my brother, my mother, my father. Same house. Born, raised by the same parents, the whole 9 yards. Well, we went to church a lot. I am a Christian. I'm a follower of Christ. Not perfect in any way, shape, form, or fashion, believe me. My brother, on the other hand, is 4 years older than me, raised in the same house, the whole 9 yards. He has blue hair. Atheist. Doesn't believe in God. If you even mention God, then he's going to go nuts. He's going to go crazy on you like any leftist would. You got to stay away from that subject. How much more diverse can I be from my own brother? Everybody's diverse. This whole diversity thing never made sense. It's so stupid. Every individual is diverse. You're not like me. I'm not like you. I find things with you in common, and that's how we become friends. But naturally, diversity is a human condition. I'll say that for people in the back, by the way. If you're just tuning in, you're not a regular watcher. Diversity is a human condition. I coined the term. Diversity is a human condition. Equity, the things we've done from DEI, equity. You want equality. You don't want equity. Equality. My brother and I are diverse, born, raised, same opportunities, in the same house. He's 4 years older than I am. Equity would be to give him my chief marketing officer job that I worked so hard for. Is he prepared to be a chief marketing officer of a multi-million-dollar corporation? I don't think so. That's what equity is. We had equality. Equality is same background, same parents, same raising, same everything. He chose that path. I chose the other path. If he wants to work in factories the rest of his life, which he is more than welcome to do that. Can he be on a radio show that's the number one show from Tampa to Miami? 100,000 watt station? I don't think so. Equity says he needs to be. No, we need equality. We don't need equity. Equity assumes that there are no decisions. And let me tell you, I run one of the largest websites, which I'm not going to mention right now. You keep tuning in, I might actually tell you. But I have had a very interesting past in history. And one of the websites that I run talks openly about my past and my history in the same sense that James Altucher does on his website. And I really like him and respect him. So, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Who in the world before 2007, 2008 was excluded in a sense? I will exclude you very quickly if I don't like you. Most people will. What is this idea that you have to include everyone? Where does this even come from? HR departments. HR departments, diversity, equity, inclusion. This is a construct, top down, people in power use in order to depopulate. How does it depopulate? It kills businesses. And businesses that have 450,000 employees that get killed also kill people in a sense. Because 450,000 people are going to potentially, in the case of Bud Light, they've already lost billions of dollars. So, those people are suffering. In fact, they're suffering so much that there has been a huge pushback against all of this stuff. DEI is nothing more than a social construct from the HR department. It's important who you hire in your HR department. But anybody in this particular person's HR department is probably on board with all of this. That's what makes this so shocking. So shocking, a Target. How in the world does Target get from where it was to here? We're not talking Ben and Jerry's ice cream. You know where they stood. We're not talking Bud Light. You were shocked by that. And now, all of a sudden, Target comes out and says, oh, and by the way, we've been in the closet this whole time. We've been in the closet this whole time. We're coming out of the closet. That's what this statement is. This statement is a closet moment. I'm coming out of the closet. This is what it is. This guy goes on to say, it's helping us drive sales. It's building greater engagement with both our teams and our guests. And those are just the right things for our business today. Focus on that today part. Focus on that today part. I may be wrong in 20 years. Come and check with me. Check back 20 years from now. Just the right things for our business today. This is not a forward-looking thinker. This is not a person that plans years in advance and thinks out the things that they should do. When we think about purpose at Target, it's really about helping all the families. And that all word is really important, Cornell said. I mean, this is the most goofy stuff in the entire world. It's absolutely insane that this is even going on. I know that focus on diversity, inclusion, and equity has fueled much of our growth over the last 9 years. Well, wait for that. Wait for it. It's going to be like global warming. You know how in the 70s it was going to get too cold and all of a sudden it started getting warmer, and everybody that said, oh, it's too cold, it's going to get so warm, and now we got global warming and climate change and all this other crap that they talk about, which also is about killing people, in a sense, depopulation. Okay, so you had 9 good years, this guy says. Or this person. I don't know his pronouns. I don't know what his pronouns are. But he says we've had nine good years. Wait for it. Wait for it. 9 good years of growth. Wait for it. So, it's just one of those things. Plunging. This says down here at the bottom, steep drops in sales of Bud Light continue to worsen the 6th consecutive week, plunging by nearly 25%. Since the ill-fated promotion with that man, Mulvaney is a synonym for that man, and it's just crazy. Don't hire the wrong people as the people who hire other people. That's rule number 1 in any business. If you're still watching this, it's a long video. I've got to tell you. Rule number 1 in business, do not hire the wrong person in the HR department. Unless you have some idea that that particular person is going to share your values, like the CEO of Target later on in life, that seems planned now, doesn't it? That seems like a long-term plan. And they plan long-term sometimes, but this guy can't think 2 seconds in advance. So, I'm shocked that if that were a plan, that this is the way it worked out. Because ultimately, there's no reason whatsoever that this should happen. Boycott Target if you want to. No, I don't see anybody boycotting Amazon. They sell the same type of stuff. Hadn't heard about that yet. You going to boycott Amazon? I don't think so. But boycott Target, boycott Bud Light, boycott Ben & Jerry's ice cream. You're making a mistake there if you do, because they got some really good ice cream. And you know where they're coming from, even if you don't want to support them. I don't eat it all the time. If you appreciate the commentary, you like it, subscribe, especially on Rumble. Subscribe, leave a comment. You agree, you disagree, you like the commentary, you don't like the commentary, you think it's something else. Have I got it wrong? I may have. Probably not. Probably not. But I thank you for tuning in.